What's up, guys? Today I want to talk about things you can do to invest in your jiu-jitsu. First of all, should you invest in your jiu-jitsu? Well, that depends. How much of a priority is it for you compared to your other priorities, okay? If you are barely able to afford a gym membership and you have to provide for yourself and potentially provide for others, then perhaps taking expensive ways of investing in your jiu-jitsu is not a good idea, right? You have other priorities which are more important. However, if you can afford to invest in your jiu-jitsu, here are a few things you can do which will help your game. The first is private lessons, okay? Your coaches generally teach a group class, and depending on how big the school is, it could be anywhere from 10 people to 50 plus people, right, in that class. And they will do their best to make sure that you're learning the fundamentals of what they're trying to teach, but you're not getting nearly as much of their attention as you will if you do a private lesson. Additionally, they can cater that lesson specifically to you, to your body type, to what's going to work for your game, or just what you want to learn in general. So it's going to be much more targeted than a general group setting. A lot of instructors either do, one private lesson at a time, or they might have packages of privates, and sometimes they'll even do special sales, if they need to raise money for anything that's going on in the gym. So ask an instructor that you like at your school, hey, do you offer private lessons? Also, maybe ask one of the higher ranks that you like to work with or that you roll with a lot and be like, hey, would you mind, doing a private lesson? Do you have rates or anything like that? Every school has their own policy. Sometimes, you have to be at least a purple or brown belt to do privates, and the school gets a cut of it. So just make sure you know how to go about it the right way. But private lessons can be very helpful. Additionally, they don't only need to be from people at your school. You can take private lessons from other instructors you don't normally interact with, especially if you've got somebody in town that's a high level visiting for a seminar. If you can afford it and do a private with them, you're going to get a much different view on jiu-jitsu in terms of what they're really good at than what you generally experience at your school, and you may find that helpful. The second is seminars, right? So again, you have high-level people coming in from out of town, maybe to your school, maybe to a nearby school, but they're showing their A game. Generally, when people come in and do seminars, right, they don't want to hold too much back, especially if they're not amongst the very top level. They want to show you their A game, right? They want to make sure you guys have a good time at the seminar and you pick up some cool things. So you're going to see the positions from which this person is generally best, right? Where they submit the most people in competition, some particular offensive and defensive things that they like to do. So going to a seminar, you're going to see the A game from people that, again, you don't normally get to train and interact with. So that can be very beneficial. The third, and this was probably the cheapest option that you guys can do to invest in your jiu-jitsu, travel somewhere else to cross-train. It can be for an open mat, or it could just be to drop in and take a class somewhere else. I've been to several gyms outside of my own instructor's gym over several years, trying to pick up as many things as I could for my game, right? It can be very helpful for you, not only just because of the instruction, but also because you're going to roll against people that you don't typically roll with. They're going to have different styles and different things that they like to do, and so you'll get exposed to more options, both defensively and offensively. The fourth is to compete. Not a super expensive option, and not something that everybody should do, especially if you work with your body and, going and competing and injuring yourself is a very high risk to your ability to provide for yourself or others. In that case, maybe think twice about whether you should go and compete. But if that's not the case for you, competing is definitely a great way to invest in your jiu-jitsu. I've talked about it before in previous videos, but basically, you're going to learn a lot from competition. You're going to have to deal with the adrenaline dump. You're going to have to deal with competition anxiety. You're going to have to deal with performing your jiu-jitsu in a higher pressure environment than what you're normally used to in class when you're training. So take advantage of that. Go out there, try your best to win. If you lose, trust me, the way that you lost is going to bug you, and you're going to work to fix your mistakes that led to your defeat. So competing is a very worthwhile thing you guys can do as well. I know jiu-jitsu competitions can sometimes run $100+, but if you do it once a month or so, or if you're just a hobbyist, you can just do it a couple of times a year. It's still going to be beneficial to you. The fifth and last one is to get instructionals in areas that you're interested in learning or that you're deficient in, okay? So You have the benefit of living in an information age where some of the best grapplers in the world constantly drop instructionals on their favorite positions, their best attacks, their best defensive sequences, and pin escapes from these positions. And I think that's an underrated instructional class, is the defensive instructionals, making sure that you know how to escape pins, making sure that you know how to escape submissions, those are important things that you need to get good at too. So I would also take a look at those instructionals, not just the ones that lead you to all the really cool submissions that I know everybody wants to learn. They're all important. But again, you have the benefit of many of the best guys in the game dropping their instructionals and showing their A game. I don't watch too many of them right now because I put a lot of content out there and I don't want to steal from people that are putting paid content out there, even if it's unintentional, if I unintentionally work it into my game. So I don't watch it too much. I prefer to go to seminars. I prefer to take private lessons, and I get permission from people before I post their content, and I always make sure to credit them. But for you guys, get all the instructionals you can if you can afford it, and it's going to jumpstart your progression in many of the positions that these people are really, really good at. So I hope you guys liked the video. Make sure you share it. Make sure you let people know, like, hey, you should be investing in your jiu-jitsu if you can, and do your best to improve as quickly as possible, right? If you can get a black belt in 10 years instead of 15 years, that's pretty cool. That's 5 years at black belt where you can continue to expand your game and get much better than you would have been had you not tried to expand your knowledge in this way. Drop a comment if there's something you want to expand upon or something you disagreed with. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new and click that notification bell. That way you guys get notified every time we drop new videos. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you next time.